my child, and peace attend you all through the night. I who love you shall be near you all through the night.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Westside Congregation in Rio Rancho. We are glad you are joining us for our Mother's Day service. If this is your first experience with us, we welcome you. If this is one of many experiences with us, we welcome you back. I am Stacy Gebicke, your service leader today. Our speaker is the Reverend Dr. Nancy Hitt, our consulting minister. Steve P. is behind the camera, and Bram will be sharing our annual ministry moment with us. Our service today is titled The Heartbeat of the World. Although we acknowledge the hallmark happiness of Mother's Day, we will also be celebrating the complex origin of the holiday and the deeper meaning it draws upon. Our service is based on UU Principle 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and Source 2, words and deeds of prophetic women and men which challenge us to confront powers of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. We hope our program enhances your experience of the day. Here are the announcements for today. Our paper caper continues. You may leave newspaper for Rio the dog in the bin on the patio outside the social hall door. Please make sure to replace the bricks on the lid. The Storehouse West bin is also in place outside the social hall door. Storehouse West accepts non-perishable food items and recyclable plastic bags only. You will have received our weekly newsletter this past week with detailed information about the results of our safety survey in regard to on-site services and meetings. Please read it carefully and contact Rev. Nancy via email with any questions. In a nutshell, we are anticipating beginning on-site services starting June 6th at 11 a.m. Face masks and social distancing per CDC guidelines will be required. A lot of adaptations to our previous routines are required to maintain safety. You'll receive more information about these in the newsletter in the coming weeks. We will be maintaining online video of our on-site services for the foreseeable future. If you are willing and able to help prepare our building for COVID-safe use, please contact Reverend Nancy. There is a lot that needs to be done after a year of sitting largely idle. In addition to the virus, there is the New Mexico dust and sand to contend with. Please email her at ministeruuwc@gmail.com. if you're willing to help. Please join us now in our chalice lighting as the words appear on your screen. May our chalice flame leap high, illuminating the history, the present reality, and the future of motherly relationships among human beings. May we acknowledge the difficulties, celebrate the joys, and affirm the ordinary as they form the foundation of our relationships. Shalom. Please join us in our aspirations as the words appear on your screen. Life is a gift. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. In the light of truth, in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the ends that all souls grow into harmony with creation, thus do we covenant with one another. Shalom.
I invite you now to join me in a moment for centering. Sit back wherever you are and relax. Close your eyes if you are comfortable doing so. Uncross your ankles, knees, wrists. Let the energy flow unimpeded through your body. Let your mind go blank. Set stray thoughts aside for another time. Focus on your breathing. Breathe deeply and fully in and out, and in and out. Relax into the rhythm of your breath. Feel yourself floating gently, easily, fully supported, embraced by love. Breathe deeply and fully. Feel the gentle warmth that surrounds you, the silken touch of love. Relax into the assurance that you are loved through and through. Breathe deeply and slowly. Claim the comfort that this love gives you. It is yours for life, for your life, always held within you. Breathe deeply and fully. Return your awareness to your whole body. Sense yourself seated in the here and now. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Shalom. Each week, we engage in sharing our joys and concerns with one another as we build our community. Our joys are celebrated and our concerns are supported. Together, our ties are strengthened. If you have a personal candle at home, we invite you to light it as we light our final candle here. We light a candle of joy today for Marilyn, whose daughter from New York is visiting her for Mother's Day. We light a candle of joy for Stacy, who has found a new job that she is looking forward to starting. We light a candle of concern for the pandemic-plagued people of India as they struggle to protect people and preserve life. We light a candle of concern for all the poorer nations who are struggling without proper vaccines and oxygen and other supplies. We light a candle of concern for those who could supply those necessities, but whose greed or ignorance or apathy leaves them unmoved. We light a candle of joy for the participants and performers in the Vax Live and other concerts designed to raise funds for vaccine doses for poorer parts of the world. May they succeed beyond their dreams. We light a candle of joy for our own congregation as we begin to plan for reopening to on-site services. We look forward to reconnecting and redefining our community. We light a candle of concern for that same reopening as we work to keep everyone safe and connected, and we all adapt to new routines and practices to achieve that. We light one last candle in honor of all that remains unspoken, yet held in our hearts and minds. We light this red candle as a witness to all the victims of racial violence, for daily suffering, for loss of life, For deep grief in the face of this reality, we light this flame against the darkness of racism. Shalom.
This is a true story. In a small village in Ethiopia, a young girl was kidnapped by a gang of men who planned to force her into marriage. For 7 horrible days, the kidnappers held her captive. Her family and the police desperately searched for her, but they were not able to track her down. The rescuers were running out of time to save the girl until unlikely heroes came to the rescue. A pride of Ethiopian lions approached the camp where the kidnappers were holding the girl. The lions encircled the victim, creating a ring of protection. The mere presence of the beast scared off the men. The plot was foiled. The lions stayed with the girl, protecting her for half a day until help finally arrived. When the girl was safe, the lions left her side and went back into the forest as if their work was done. This is a little chihuahua, and it's called Little One. Who are you looking at, huh? Who are you looking at? You think I'm afraid of you, huh? You think I'm afraid of you? You're not so big. You're not so tough. Come on, I dare you. Come on, I'll destroy you. That's it, just walk away. Go on, just walk away. Oh, please, just walk away. Oh God, that dog was a monster. Oh man, I need to relax. Or at least I have to switch to herbal tea.
This morning, our moment for all ages is the book Runaway Bunny by Margaret Wise Brown. And to help us read it this morning is our old friend, My Little Bunny. The story goes like this. Once there was a little bunny who wanted to run away. So he said to his mother, "I am running away." "If you run away," said his mother, "I will run after you, for you are my little bunny." "If you run after me," said the little bunny, "I will become a fish in a trout stream, and I will swim away from you." "If you become a fish in a trout stream," said his mother, "I will become a fisherman, and I will fish for you." "If you become a fisherman," said the little bunny, "I will become a rock on the mountain high above you." "If you become a rock on the mountain high above me," said his mother, "I will become a mountain climber, and I will climb to where you are." "If you become a mountain climber," said the little bunny, "I will become a crocus hidden in the garden." "If you become a crocus in a hidden garden," said his mother, "I will become a gardener, and I will find you." "If you are a gardener and find me," said the little bunny, "I will be a bird and fly away from you." "If you become a bird and fly away from me," said his mother, "I will be a tree that you come home to." "If you become a tree," said the little bunny, "I will become a little sailboat, and I will sail away from you." "If you become a sailboat and sail away from me," said his mother, "I will become the wind and blow you where I want you to go." "If you become the wind and blow me," said the little bunny, "I will join a circus and fly away on a flying trapeze." "If you go flying on a flying trapeze," said his mother, "I will be a tightrope walker, and I will walk across the air to you." "If you become a tightrope walker and walk across the air," said the bunny, "I will become a little boy and run into the house." "If you become a little boy and run into a house," said the mother bunny, "I will become your mother and catch you in my arms and hug you." "Shucks," said the bunny, "I might just as well stay where I am and be your little bunny." And so he did. "Have a carrot," said the mother bunny. The end.
This community shows its love and commitment in many ways. We thank you for all of them, for gifts of funding, for your time and your talent, and your participation in our programming and activities. We offer our sincere thanks. Without your contribution, we would not be who we are. Shalom.
Our reading for today is the Mother's Day Proclamation written by Julia Ward Howe. "Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of fears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, 'Disarm! Disarm!' The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council. Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them then solemnly take counsel with each other as the means whereby the great human family can live in peace. And each bearing after her own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God." Shalom. Our sermon today is titled, "The Heartbeat of the World." It consists of 4 parts, each included to honor a different aspect of mothering and motherhood. Here is the first. In the beginning was the mother. She was without form, masses of energy charging and discharging, forming her molten core. Over the eons, she coalesced, holding her heat in the very center of her being. She cooled and formed rugged rock and raging sea. Her heart beat through them. The steam from her work of creation rose, forming atmosphere, troposphere and stratosphere, and more. Air was created. Millennia later, simple plants of the sea formed sediment. They became more complex. Paramecium and bacteria partnered together in intricate chains. The sea acquired life. From the single-celled organism to the creature as yet unnamed who swam freely, crashing onto the developing sandy shore over and over and over again, life evolved. The mother worked within and through them all, delighting in her ever-growing soup of life. Her heartbeat was steady. Eventually, some of the more enterprising creatures developed legs and feet for walking on the shore and lungs for breathing air. Others developed wild colors and fins and gills and continued to plumb the depths of the ocean. The mother never stopped creating. She continued to design and form and give birth to ever newer and more complex forms of life. Throughout it all, her heart beat strong, pouring love into all that became. She set the process for soil in motion, catching small seeds from the new plants while their dead leaves and flowers became compost, fertile ground for newer and bigger vegetation. In heat and in cold, life flourished. Her heart beat on. She adorned herself with flowers and fruit of all sorts. They seeded themselves over and over again, forming fields and forests. Watered by the clouds that the ancient steam had set in motion, the ground became fertile. Water from the mother's bosom welled up and soaked the land, forming rivers and lakes that fed into the sea. The mother's heart swelled with love for the beauty of her creation. Inspired with joy at her success, the mother ventured to create birds that flew and sang. She created creatures that scampered and scurried, that were furred and scaled. Some were enormous and made her laugh. Others were tiny, needing to be treated with care. All of them were hers. They were all an expression of who she was and who she was becoming. She nurtured each of them according to their needs, and all was good. After the eons and millennia had been passing for a while, the mother determined to create a creature with the capacity for reflection, for determining meaning, for making tools and joining her in the labor of creation. This creature would have a talent for communicating with others of its kind, with others of other kinds, and with her. Her heartbeat quickened as she set the plan for the development of humanity. And so, humankind was born. And the mother's heart beat strong and true, so that humanity could hear it from the moment of conception to their demise. The heartbeat of the mother was there to comfort and sustain them, even as they gained independence and moved freely throughout her creation. In time, humanity developed clusters and groups. Tribes and then nations organized themselves to protect and preserve the life of people, to develop and increase their wisdom and their artistry. Throughout it all, the mother's heartbeat was heard clearly, establishing her presence as immediate, eternal, and sustaining. Early human history documents a close harmony between humanity and the natural world. Our ancestors were dependent on the cycles of nature for food and for shelter. As they developed into increasingly complex societies and began to explore the capacity for introspection and making meaning that the mother had instilled in them, they developed images of her, according her honor and respect, developing rituals to serve her and to engage in dialogue with her. She became known by many different names, all different, yet all the same. You may recognize Gaia as her embodiment, or Artemis, or Aphrodite, or Hestia, or Minerva, or Diana, or Persephone, or Juno, all as aspects of her divine being. Each area of the planet inhabited by humanity had images and names for her. Each civilization cultivated special relationships with her in her multiple forms. Stories of who the mother is and how she cared for her creation were told and retold. In her healing form, she was known as Ermid and Angitia and Bonadea and Karna. In her strength, she was sought as Anat, Durga, Hel, and many others. As humanity became more specialized, so did the ways in which the mother was appreciated. There are multiple pantheons of female deities of all sorts. Some of them reigned over activities that are no longer part of our daily lives in the here and now in New Mexico. For example, Arachne, the Greek goddess of weaving. We recognize the roots of her name in arachnophobia, the fear of spiders who constantly weave their webs. But back in the day, when the mother was the primary source of all life, there were manifestations of her and stories about her and rituals to engage with her in every aspect of life. In addition to healing and strength, there were warrior goddesses and goddesses of compassion and self-knowledge and gardening and giving birth and beauty. There were also stories and aspects of the mother that were dark and haunting and deadly. Just as death is the ultimate experience of every life, humanity's interaction and meaning-making with the world included female deities who were dark and terrifying. Quite simply, every aspect of life that humanity encountered and engaged with had its home in the mother. Whole cultures were devoted to her in all of her varied aspects. Many of these cultures were peaceful. Archaeological digs show a dearth of weaponry left behind. Down through recorded human history, we know of matrilineal cultures, although scholars sometimes still quibble over them. Seeing as there are 6 that still survive today, I think the academic argument is more of a cultural prejudice than anything else. In China, Indonesia, Ghana, Costa Rica, and northern Panama, India, and Bangladesh, there are still tribes that hold to matrilineal and matriarchal structures in their societies. Among these tribes, the feminine principle is the primary power. The mother rules. But that didn't last forever. And in areas of the planet where life was especially hard, male deities and the practice of war as an art developed. With the rise of patriarchy came the concept of private property and power over others as the most desirable kind of power to have. humanity has spent centuries dethroning the goddesses and then paring the male deities down to a mere handful of monotheistic gods who are perceived to rule the world. The heartbeat of the mother is muffled. Where once people governed by council, they were now governed by emperors and kings. Where once the mother was known to love everyone, now a person had to earn divine favor by compliance with the divine will, as expressed through those emperors and kings. Human mothers and the images of the Divine Mother took a back seat. They no longer drove the chariot of life in the socio-cultural square, although human women retained their monopoly on giving birth and nurturing children. While that's a vital role for the species, recognition has been reduced to a single day in the Western world. The rest of the mother has been camouflaged by patriarchy. The origin of Mother's Day, as we know it, took place in the early 1900s. A woman named Anna Jarvis started a campaign for an official holiday honoring mothers in 1905, the year her own mother died. The first larger-scale celebration of the holiday was in 1908, when Jarvis held a public memorial for her mother in her hometown of Grafton, West Virginia. Over the next few years, Jarvis pushed to have the holiday officially recognized, and it was celebrated increasingly in more and more states around the U.S. Finally, in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation making Mother's Day an official holiday to take place on the second Sunday of May. Anna Jarvis put Mother's Day on the calendar as a day dedicated to expressing love and gratitude to mothers, acknowledging the sacrifices women make for their children. She was determined to keep Mother's Day, mothers, a singular possessive, marked by an apostrophe before the S. Each family should celebrate its own mother so that individual women across the country could feel loved, even in the midst of a broad celebration of motherhood. Anna Jarvis' own mother played an important role in uniting women for good causes. Mother Jarvis took care of wounded soldiers on both sides of the field during the Civil War, and in its aftermath, she organized a Mother's Friendship Day, the goal of which was to foster reconciliation between former Union and Confederate soldiers by having them come together along with mothers from both sides. The senior Jarvis' lifelong focus was on caring for children and promoting peace. At around the same time, Anne Reeves Jarvis was working with mothers in the spirit of peace. Julia Ward Howe, another activist, as well as abolitionist, suffragette, and Unitarian, worked to have June 2nd celebrated as Mother's Peace Day. She wrote the Mother's Day Proclamation that we read earlier, calling on mothers to work toward world peace. In a patriarchal world that gloried war as honorable and manly, these women fought against the tide. One can hear the heartbeat of the universe in their proclamation of peace. The desire that no child of any woman ever be called to kill another for any reason. The idea of mixing the personal with the political has deep roots. These women saw a parallel between motherhood in the era they lived in and the cultural pursuit of power through war. Both cost lives. Both require putting others before oneself. Both require many sacrifices of self-interest for the good of others. Whereas one is truly honorable, and that would be motherhood, the other seduces and sacrifices the mother's children. Within a few short years, Anna Jarvis was horrified at the turn that Mother's Day had taken. Florists, candy makers, and card makers took advantage of the day and commercialized it unmercifully. Even charities chimed in on the effort to make money off of Mother's Day. Ms. Jarvis attempted to have the holiday recalled, but there was no going back. In 2017, the expected total spending for Mother's Day in the United States, and I can't believe this number, so get ready. Expected total spending for Mother's Day was $23.6 billion. That's an average of $186.39 per shopper. In the 14 years that the National Retail Federation has conducted the Mother's Day spending survey, that's the highest amount yet on record. The occasion of giving thanks to a loving mother has imprinted itself on the collective social consciousness, leaving the work of peace in the dust. The patriarchy has co-opted yet another aspect of motherhood, turning the sacrifices of loving mothers into labor to be rewarded with cards and flowers and candy. Hardly a living wage. Which brings us to the Hallmark Mothers. And if you think I'm going to engage in a diatribe against modern Mother's Day practices, you're actually mistaken. I find the card makers to be particularly intriguing. If we could line up all of the Mother's Day cards from 1914 onward, we would have a pictorial review of our cultural images of motherhood. They've changed, and for the better. Mothers are now portrayed as doing more than rocking cradles, even while that remains a vital act. There are cards that honor working moms and single moms, and all the other kinds of moms that there are. There are moms who can cook, and those who do better ordering out. There are moms who clean, and moms who hire cleaners. There are moms who read and sing to their kids, moms who dance around with them, and moms who throw baseballs and footballs and love doing it. There are moms who work hard at teaching their children morals and values and how to think critically. There are moms who protect and advocate for their kids in all kinds of circumstances. And there are cards that make mention of many of these things, although I doubt any single card can actually say it all. When it comes to having a mom and knowing we are loved, when it comes to being a mom and loving unconditionally, we are better served by the ancient images of the source of life, the Divine Mother. She who creates order out of chaos, who designs function and beauty indiscriminately. She who is patient, holding the long view, she with the fiery core and the loving arms of eternity. Those are the images we need. Her heartbeat is the heartbeat of the world. Every human heart resonates with it. And lastly, we have a very modern question. Can people without a womb be mothers? Ought they to be honored on Mother's Day? In our sexist cultural stereotypes, we'd often like to say no. Part of that desire may be to retain something of value something that cannot be taken away from us as women yet. It is often tempting to say that only women can be mothers, and biologically, that is still true. And luckily, there is no way for us to see where science is headed, so for now, it does require a biological female to be a biological mother. But that is the most basic form of motherhood. It is not always easy. For many women, it is not easy, and infertility is a genuine heartbreak. The relational attitudes of motherhood, nurturing human life in the person of a vulnerable and needy child, can be expressed by anyone, and these are what make mothering possible and memorable. They may be of any gender or sexuality. They may be grandmothers, foster mothers, biological mothers, adoptive mothers, surrogate mothers, stepmothers, and they may be good, bad, or indifferent mothers. If we set our sexual stereotypes aside, we will want to honor any person whose heart is in tune with the heartbeat of the world. Find that person or those people in your life today and honor them for how they have loved you. Have a very happy Mother's Day. Shalom and blessed be. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us for this Mother's Day Sunday service. We invite you to share your comments and questions on either our website services page, our Facebook page, or our YouTube page. You may also email me directly at ministeruuwc@gmail.com. We really appreciate your feedback. It helps us plan for our future. Thank you. Please join me now as the words appear on your screen as we extinguish our chalice together. The flame is snuffed, the smoke rises. May the memory of the primordial heartbeat inspire us with the fullness of life. Shalom and amen. May the heartbeat of the world beat in synchrony with your own. May you love and be loved. May your life contribute to the life of all. May we engage in the ongoing work of creation. Shalom and blessed be.
Sleep, my child, and peace attend you all through the night.